Hi, welcome to BPI TV. I'm Dan Stanton. I'm joined here today by Kartoa Chow, who comes from Genentech. Kartoa, you presented this morning on process monitoring across an external network. What does it actually? What does process monitoring really entail, and why is it so important?
Yeah, so process monitoring is actually only one piece to the entire process validation lifecycle, which is the collection and the evaluation of your data to demonstrate robustness and consistency. And so process monitoring is important not only because it's ICH expectations and health authority expectations, but also as a company, it allows us to really enhance our process knowledge, as well as making sure that our product is being produced in a consistent quality manner.
And I mean, a company the size of Genentech or Roche, I mean, what challenges do you have having such a large network? How do you implement this?
Yeah, and right, inherent to such a large external network like the one that Roche has, there's the diversity with all the CMOs that we have. So very often when it comes to certain alignment activities like process monitoring, it might be difficult to, or almost impossible to have a one-size-fit-all approach. So it's almost seems like you have to tackle individual sites in a siloed manner in order to create this alignment. So it's definitely not the most efficient way to handling a problem. And I think another challenge that we've had is the unclear roles and responsibilities with additional stakeholders, with additional functions and companies. And so really getting that clarity of the responsibilities and which functions are doing what those responsibilities are would be important.
I guess while managing such a large network, there are going to be some pitfalls and some lessons learnt. Are there any sort of specific examples that you've personally seen of something that may have gone wrong but you managed to fix?
Yeah, so going back to the diversity of the CMO, I think that really drives us to understand what the fundamental requirements are. So really distilling the information from the ICH guidelines, for example, or the health authority guidelines to understand the true requirements to allow the CMOs or the team to develop the business processes around that rather than prescribing, having this prescriptive method or approach. And in terms of the roles and responsibilities, the unclear roles and responsibilities that sometimes we experienced, I think it's worth investing initially to have that discussion with the CMO and internally to understand, to delineate those responsibilities and to identify the functions that will allow us to deliver the requirements.
And I mean, you mentioned the word standardization before and the problems with that. Is there no sort of prospect of being able to standardize process monitoring across a number of sites? Is that not a possibility for the future?
No, I think that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
When it comes to standardization, I think the first thing that comes to my mind, at least, is templatizing. So having templates for certain documents, certain protocols, reports, but this also goes back to understanding what those true requirements are and capturing the true requirements in those templates and then allowing the CMOs or the teams to develop those business processes around that to deliver the requirements. Another opportunity for standardization is especially for an external network as large as the one that Roche has, is to create this core team that will allow us to make decisions in a centralized forum and basically creating these best practices and cascading the information to the CMOs and to the respective teams in a very streamlined and consistent manner, rather than having individual teams make their own decisions and make create their own interpretations.
How when you add a third party or another site, how do you get them on board with your process monitoring systems and your standards? How do you ensure that they follow that?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of communication, understanding what those requirements are, and a lot of the times we actually leverage what the external parties have because perhaps they have a more sophisticated system than what we are prescribing or what we are suggesting. So it comes down to the discussion between the license holder and the CMOs, and really understanding what will allow us to deliver those requirements.
I kind of have to ask, Kartoa, do you ever get any sort of kickback from, some CMOs, some third parties often think that they may know better than the end user. So have you seen any resistance at all?
I think it's inevitable, but it's more of a collaboration. I think working with CMOs, it's more of a partnership. So understanding what their capacities, their capabilities are, and then leveraging what they have and communicating what we want. I think it ultimately is a collaboration and a conversation, a dialogue between the two parties.
Well, look, Kartoa, thank you very much for speaking to me today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
For BPI TV, I'm Dan Stanton.